Quick opening statement.
Just another week. It's been a long break for us. So excited to be playing again. I think there's good and bad things about like a long period of time off. The good thing is I thought we did pretty well in the Bahamas. We definitely grew and got better. But then to be able to come back, get a little bit healthy again, which was good for us, and then just kind of get back to some basics, I think you'll see an improvement this week. So.
You've been got Courtney in the Bahamas.
Yeah.
What have you seen from her since she's, over this week? 'Cause I know she has some turnover problems down there.
We all have turnover problems. It's like we're the turnover team right now.
But what have you seen from her?
She's always so tenacious on defense. She plays hard. She's coachable. She's a great teammate. I think, for her, I think there was just a sense of like hurry up and wait. And that was frustrating because it was totally out of her control. And it was just kind of an unfair situation. But like I think it was just like a monkey off her back, being able to play, just kind of free. And now like working herself into the rotation and stuff like that because it's different practice versus games. So continuing to work with her on shooting and good decisions because she's so fast and so quick. So I think sometimes slowing down a little bit, but she's doing that. She's getting better, and we have to work a lot of fundamentals. We're young and we are turning the ball over, and a lot of those they're not live ball turnovers. A lot of them are charges or travels, stuff like that we can control. So that just tells me fundamentally we have to just get a little bit more sound.
Condensed home schedule early, and then obviously
Yeah.
3 games and a few days in the Bahamas.
Yeah, I know. It was a tough. It was 6 games in 11 days. So, yeah.
This off period where you're
Which
off.
I did not. I did the scheduling, and like that's not what I wanted. But I could not fill a game because that tournament's right before Thanksgiving. So it's a really tough, and no one's going to play you that next week here. Everybody's in Thanksgiving tournaments. So it was a hard schedule, but I wanted to go to that tournament because I thought the Bahamas is good.
You need to get healthy,
Yeah.
but how do you avoid the rust from this period?
I don't really think rust, and it's funny because we needed to get healthy, but then we had people out with concussions, sick, so it didn't even really benefit that much. We weren't like full days of a ton of practices, but getting healthy, I think taking a mental break because that was a tough stretch for a young team, and we didn't do well, I think, against Ole Miss. It's not about losing or winning. It was like, we struggled against the zone, but we've been able to address that. And that was really important for me because now we're playing so much better against the zone and a lot more confident. So that was important because I knew that if we didn't fix that, it was going to be a long December because we're going to get zoned a lot more. But, I think we're playing a really good team on Saturday in Vegas, and they're aggressive. And it's going to be a good test for us on the road. Then playing Texas and San Diego, we have a tough little stretch. So I'm curious to see how we're going to bounce back and how we're going to respond after that break. Because I don't know. We're a young team, so I really don't know what to expect all the time.
And what did you said you worked on a lot of the basics and stuff.
Yeah.
What did you work on? How will you look different? Do you think you'll look different on Saturday?
Yeah, we're going to look different as far as turning the ball over. I think just understanding, you don't always have to have that $1 million pass. There are passes that I think are open that are pretty good, but I think teaching young players, that's a really hard pass. You may make it in practice, you may thread the needle sometimes, but it's better to make the safe fundamental pass, I think. And so if everybody cuts theirs down by 1, we're half of what we have now. We just have never really had so many turnovers. And then the traveling and the lack of jump stopping and charging and stuff like that, those are things that you just have to teach individually for people to jump stop. And that's what we do. So that tells me we needed more reps. And so working on passing every day. And I think as far as zone is teaching what you're trying to accomplish in the zone. A zone is very simple. It's really like a kind of stupid defense. It's just you should be able to break a zone, whether you can shoot it or not. I think there's ways you can pick apart zones, and there's a lot of holes. So I think in basketball, great defense is man-to-man defense, and it's very hard to teach. That's why a lot of people don't do it. So I think the understanding, the objective is where you're trying to get the ball. If someone's from the bottom's guarding you, what's open? And I think we just didn't have an understanding of that. So being able to break that down more, and it's not an excuse, but I think some of that came from not having numbers. So we couldn't play a lot of 5-on-5, and we never had practice players until recently. So just getting kind of all that to be able to play consistently against the zone. But, that it is what it is, and just showing film and learning, and that's what you do with a young team. You have to learn and teach, and there's a lot of teaching right now.
Skylar described this freshman group as a group of dogs.
Yeah.
How much have you enjoyed coaching this group as younger?
I really have. Skylar, from Chicago, great kid, great addition. And I feel bad for Skylar because she's been in and out with concussion protocol, and it's just random stuff that isn't even a big thing, but it's like numbers wise, it'll keep you out for a week or two. So she was unfortunately out for some of this week, and she was just kind of getting into the groove of things. She played a really good game in Bahamas. And then to be sitting out a few days, I think that's been hard for her. But she's tough. She wants to be good. She's really hard on herself, and it's a really good group of freshmen. So when you think of Montea, she's working hard. She's ahead of schedule. And then you look at Jada. Jada is tough. She's not afraid of anybody. She's continuing to get healthy and get better. But she leads in so many ways as a freshman. So I love seeing that. I love coaching her. Brea hasn't even scratched her potential. Brea's starting to shoot threes, and she's just improving. So you're gonna see her just get better and better. And she has so many gifts that you can't teach, like her hands. You can't teach that. She's actually pretty fast at running the floor. We just have to do that consistently. But she's getting in the best shape of her life. This is the most fit she's been. So she's getting better. Then she's going against Maya. She's going against Isis and Ismeri every day. So she's improving. And I think she's learning how to push to that next level. And then, what freshman am I forgetting? We have Jada, Brea, Montea, Skylar. So those are everybody. And unfortunately, it was a big blow to lose Montea. Montea, she's even in practice non-contact, and she's so smart. She's so versatile. That was a hard loss for us that a lot of people forget about early. So we started with 12, but then, we lost her, and so our numbers have just been rough. Because remember, we went to the one exhibition game with 6 people. So just, I want us to get healthy. We've had 2 practices with everybody there. And that was on the road for an hour. So I want to get where we're kind of going, because we have 2 really good groups of 5-on-5. So getting us to be able to get to that point, we have never been at that point except for Bahamas when Courtney got cleared for 2 days. And those are 1-hour practices. So we need that to really work, and hopefully we'll get to that soon. This 12 days helps, and hopefully the break will help. We're having a longer break than normal. But I think we need that mentally and physically. So.
Brea, the ultimate post player. So how much will you let her get out there and shoot threes?
I'm going to let her because my job is to develop her. But yes, what I love about her is she's one of those posts that doesn't want to be a 3. Most posts want to be a 3, when they're 5, or they want to play this or positionless, this and that. She wants to be a post, and she wants to be a good post. That's what I like, and that's why I think she embraces it, and she's going to be good because of that. But our job is to develop her she has a really nice high post shot. She has a really good face up shot. So developing her to be able to shoot threes and stuff from the trail makes her better. And developing her to drive it from the 3-point line in the high post. That's what we're supposed to do. So I think you'll see that. She just stands really straight up, which is funny. She posts straight up, and she's straight up a lot. So teaching her to bend, that might take about a year, but she's getting a little lower than before.
How much was it needed for Jada to see some shots go in that last game?
Very much needed, because it's just psychologically as a player, when she's actually a good shooter. I mean, she probably has never had a stretch like this, but she's also never worked like this. I think consistently at college is different. There's so many more demands, so much more stress. It's just different. I think it's a different stress level that they've never experienced. So I think it's one of those things where it becomes mental, because even in some of the games at home, she would hit a shot and she'd be like, oh, finally. But I think now just kind of it enables you to kind of take a deep breath and say it's okay. And, some of that, her Achilles was bothering her. And so she was kind of taking unbalanced shots. But she's getting better, and I think her focusing on just getting the reps in and just taking it game by game, one shot at a time, and having amnesia too. The best shooters have amnesia. If you miss 2 shots, who cares? And I think one thing that has affected her, though, is that she likes to work, and because she was injured before, she wasn't working a lot extra. I think there's value to when you're struggling and you can go in and shoot an extra hour a day. I think that helps a lot. But when you're limited because of injury, you're not getting those reps in, so you don't have the confidence. You're not seeing the ball go in the hoop. I think that's harder, and it takes you a little bit longer to get out of a slump. And I think that was a little bit what she dealt with. But you're going to face adversity. She continues to work. She's strong mentally, so she can handle it. I think you're going to see her much different even as we progress.
Seen some foul trouble early in the season. What do you think you need to do to address it, especially on your post?
Yeah, so our young players, I think, showing film and understanding the game. So there's a time to be really aggressive. There's a place on the floor, but then there's certain zones on the floor where you need to be a little bit more contained. And I think the understanding of, okay, we've played really good defense for 23 seconds. Last 7 seconds, you don't want to go for a reach. And like Skylar, Jada, Brea, they don't understand that. And I think I don't think sometimes as when you're young, you're not even looking that there's 7 seconds left. So teaching them, like, let's communicate about that. Let's know so we're all on the same page, and just constant feedback and film to show this is when you don't want to go for that steal. Yeah, earlier you can, but this is the time you don't, or we are one away from the bonus. You don't want to put the other team in the bonus. Like we did that early on the road a lot. So a lot of that is just young mistakes and experience. And I think as upperclassmen, they have to over-communicate that stuff and say, hey, we have 3 fouls, let's be smarter. But as coaches, we're talking about a lot like, hey, this is the time to contain a little bit more because of where we are in our fouls. Or like teaching as Mary, like, don't go for that steal at the top of the key when we've just won a couple possessions without scoring. We need to be solid defensively. And Skylar, she's done a better job of that if you watch her in the Bahamas or the third game compared to the first game. Second game, she didn't play as much, but those are just young mistakes, and they come from experience.
When you look at Helena, who's always been one of the better defenders in the country, this year she's getting more steals, I think, than in the past if you look at the clip that she's doing. And she's always gotten the deflections. What do you think is sort of the difference this year with Helena?
I don't really know why she's getting more steals, because I would have thought before she'd get more. But some of that I think because Shayna on the ball probably got some of those steals. So I think Helena, I think in some of these games she has guarded the ball, but she is much better off the ball in the passing lane. I think Helena and Esmeri are some of our best denying players, especially Esmeri, is really good when she's in shape and ready and playing her game. She's the best at that. So I think Helena is just like picking pockets and anticipating well. And Kaylin has also improved on the ball. So when I put Kaylin on the ball, Helena's been better in the passing lane, because before Kaylin couldn't do that. But I think it's because Shayna sometimes would take a couple of those away probably. But I think she's solid defensively. I don't think she's much different last year. She's probably a little bit stronger and a little bit quicker, which I think 3-on-3 probably helped speed her game up a little bit. I just have to find a way to get Helena offensively more into a rhythm. So I put a couple sets in. I think will give her a little bit more freedom, because Helena is a phenomenal distributor. A lot of times she distributes it, but no one's distributing her. So, I think that Kaylin is really good at creating her own shot, but learning how to when to pass, the timing of that. And so if you look in the past, we've had Ari and we had Shayna that were kind of driving to get Helena shots. We don't really have anybody that's been able to create shots for her. And she's so unselfish that she's going to pass up some of those. So I have to create things to put her in situations where we're like going to her for actions, and we're doing that.
Why you think her percentage is down, or is it she's having to take some difficult shots?
She's having to take some difficult shots. Her percentage is down because she's like playing point guard a lot, pressing the ball full court. I think it's just a different way. So I'm kind of maneuvering that a little bit, and taking tough shots and taking shots that aren't open. I think if you look at the past, we had point guards that were really getting her shots. Like Shayna drives deep. Shayna can drive by anybody in the country. And then Helena would get open 1-2. I don't know. I can't remember the last time Helena had a wide open 1-2 step 3. And then we're not shooting it really well on the perimeter. She's a shooter, so she's not open. And we don't have someone breaking down defense and attracting to get her open shots. So that's a kind of, and the funny thing is we don't shoot the ball bad. So our numbers are going to go up, but our team is understanding, and we're teaching them that you execute some things, you'll get the open shots. But if you're turning the ball over and stuff, that's bad transition defense. Unorganized offense is unorganized defensive transition. And so learning that if you run the plays and you execute, you're going to get the shots you want and when you should get them, and then the team is ready for them, so then you're organized in transition. So I think it's all correlated, and we're just learning and improving. And it's a process, and we have like 8 new people. So I think that just takes time and patience and and like taking a step back, I think, in some ways. And a month ago or the last couple of weeks, I wasn't putting in tons of stuff because it's like you gotta do something well first. If you have 10 plays and you run them all the same, it's better to have 3 and run one well. So figuring out what we're gonna do really well right now. I think we're doing some things good, but like, what are we gonna be really good at, and what's that identity is gonna be? And we're just still discovering that.
How did the opportunity come together to get Chris Allen back here to
Well,
Arizona?
I've been looking for that opportunity for a long time, for years, and I think that like Chris is really good. I've worked out with him personally for years, like years ago when he was here with the former football staff, or two staffs ago, and he wasn't really someone we could get because of financially he was making a lot more money than we could pay, and he was always the head of the department and head of football, so I knew that was kind of a long shot in the dark. But he had been gone a lot, like traveling, and his family's here. So gone with football and different things. So every time he'd come in town, I'd see him and I'd recruit him. And I'm a pretty good recruiter, no, just kidding. So I'd recruit him like, hey, like you should be back with your family. Like, I know football, you're gone all the time. You don't really have time to come home. And just like was in his ear for years. And then I thought it was a good opportunity just to keep on trying. And then this year, tried really hard, but like this has been over the years talking about it. I've been talking to him about this for probably 4 or 5 years, and so it was always in the back of my mind. But it was always like I'm never gonna be able to get him. So like we're fortunate to have him. I mean, he's definitely way overqualified for the position, and he's really good. I've worked with some of the best in the world in my career. I've worked 13 years as a pro with some of the best in Europe, best EuroLeague. I've worked professionally in WNBA here with some of the best. They're still on the NBA and WNBA side, and he's one of the best I've ever had. So he's really good. Now we just would have to keep him, but I think like he's one of the best hires I've had here as a coach. So, and I think the proof is in the pudding. I mean, every single player has improved physically. I mean, you guys see it, right? I don't think there's anybody that's regressed. Everybody's progressed in some way, whether it's quickness, strength, look, running, conditioning. Everybody's improved. And it's funny because at the event the other day, someone said that. Someone basically, it was like one of those comments like, you guys were all fat and out of shape, and now it wasn't like that. But I was kind of like, oh, thanks, but no thanks. But it was a compliment, but it was like everybody has like improved, look stronger. I mean, everybody. And that's not all on strength and conditioning. It's maturity, it's learning and diet. And we have a really good nutritionist right now, too. A younger guy who's experienced, though. We had Tanner last year. Tanner was great, but he was with football a lot. And so we have this guy, Nick, now. And Nick is awesome. He's like super invested and just about it and does so many things. So all of those things like hydration, education, they all matter. And when you have good people around you that are invested in the program and that your players love, our players love Nick, they love Chris, they love Bart, they love the support staff. So I really feel like we've done a good job of getting it right, and it's taken a long time. And as a coach, like running a program, that's some of the hardest stuff to get right. Like everybody around you is hard to get right. And I really feel like we have that right now. And it's I don't think I've had that whole equation right since I've been here until now.
Overseas, have you been able to follow Aria much?
Yeah, actually, well, I haven't followed like statistically, but it was funny. She texted me the other day. She's like, "We're about to play Lauren." I said, "Watch out, she might drop 25." Lauren's like 45 years old, 2 kids, and like she called me. She was like, "We blew a 21," or she texted me. She's like, "We blew a 21-point lead, and she gave us 15." But Lauren's still balling over there, but she loves it. She said that her husband said that he wanted to move there, and I was like, "Hold on, I don't know about that. You need to come back here." But yeah, they love it. Like she sent me some pictures. It looks beautiful. So I think she's having a great time. And Ari is not an overseas person. Australia, they speak English. Like it's probably different. It's not America, but it's more because of the language barrier. It's beautiful, the beaches and all that. I mean, I'm shocked when she said I love it. I was kind of like, huh? I was like, Ari, is this, am I hearing you? Ari's like a homebody and like does not like different stuff. But she's doing well. She's playing really well. I've seen some articles, but I don't know statistically. She's probably averaging how much?
I've seen like 35 points.
Yeah. And I know she's fast. All the Australians are like, how do you get girls this fast? Like, yeah, she's on a mission. She's really focused on getting better. And it's the best thing. I was the one that was pushing. I didn't want to lose her, obviously, but I was like talking her into like, you need to go play. Like, I'm not going anywhere. You can come back here. We'd love for you to come back. I anticipate her coming back one day, but you can only play for a small amount of time. you can always go coach. You can always, like, I started when I was 30-something. So you need to play, you need to make your money, save your money. I mean, it's life. It's not like we make what the NBA makes, or else I would have been able to retire like 10 years ago. But it's not like that. So if you have if you have like a 7-year window to make the most money you can, like, she has to do it. And you can have great experiences. Like, I don't regret any of that. I mean, it made me who I am today, and it makes you a better player, getting paid to work out. When you're here, you might not work out some days, you have to find gyms, you're not playing in games. So I think it's a great decision. That's a solid league with good coaching. So I think it was a brilliant move on her end. She's just in the prime of her career. Yep. Maybe I'll have to go visit her in Australia.
Oh, what's the scout for Saturday? What does UNLV look like?
UNLV, really talented team, good inside presence, shoot the ball really well, 2 shooters on the perimeter. I think they're a solid team. I think they're an NCAA tournament team for sure that should win their conference. And definitely don't take them lightly at all. We know it's going to be a very tough game there, and they're playing good basketball. There was some confusion on the game, and not confusion, but some rearranging the game because of football. They were hosting the bowl game, so we moved the game to 5, and then that kind of had things weird. But yeah, we finally solidified that yesterday. We didn't have like anything solidified till yesterday. So I'm going to go in there and they have to play. They're aggressive on pick and roll situations. They're good in transition. They have a great point guard that can drive it. They're a solid, like, complete team. So we're going to have to play well. And it's going to be a test for us. I feel like this non-conference, we're going to have some really tough tests that are going to prepare us for the Pac-12, because the Pac-12 is going to be brutal. It's going to be hard for any team to be 500 in the Pac-12. So I think for us, getting these games under our belt and playing some quality teams is good preparation. But December's a tough month for us.
Speaking of that, I mean, in the Pac-12, you haven't had to schedule as tough in non-conference. Looking forward to the Big 12, where maybe it won't be as strong.
It's not going to be as strong as the Pac-12, I don't feel right now.
So will your philosophy change around that?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. It would have changed this year because I probably wouldn't have scheduled exactly like this. I wouldn't have that stretch if I had control over it. Scheduling is very difficult. I would have not had 6 games in 11 days with a young team. But I didn't know. Hindsight's 2020. I didn't know we were going to have the injuries. There's a lot of stuff I didn't know. So this 12-day break, I was like upset that it turned out like that, but it actually was good for us right now. Yeah, if the conference isn't as good, we would have a stronger non-conference. But like the Pac-12 always been so good, and if I knew it was this good, we would have had a weaker non-conference. Not weaker, but different, to be honest. But like sometimes it depends on where your returns fall. There's a lot of factors, and I'm actually almost halfway done with next year. But yeah, because you don't want to play like a beast of a non-conference and then go into the Pac-12. And this year, we're going to have a tough non-conference and have a tough thing. But we're young, so I understand that we may lose some games and probably more losses than in the past years. That's a fact. Maybe not. But, like, I'm okay with that because I know if I'm looking at the big picture, it's going to prepare them and get them better. And our core of freshmen are going to play. And they're going to get experience. They're going to get thrown into the fire. Sometimes we're going to have 2 or 3 on the floor at one time. It is what it is, but they're going to get better. And I think you see that with UCLA. They played some freshmen that really helped Kiki Rice, and helped those players. And you see it throughout our conference. But usually it's hard to win games and do that. So we're going to have to balance trying to win some games and to do that. And, try to sneak up on some people with the young team. And then the challenge will be keeping that team together and building off of it. But usually if you get in playing time, there's usually an incentive to stay places. So, but that's just like looking at it. And I made some moves. Remember I said I made some moves in the off season to protect that, and understanding I don't want to have 6, 7 players every year. So I understand. And the fact is, if players don't play, regardless of how good your team is, we were ranked all year last year, they're gonna leave. So I really wanted to invest in our young players. I really wanted Montea. Montea would have played a lot. I really wanted Skylar because I want to develop her. I think she could be very good. And then Jada, I think she could be a very good player, and I think she's going to be a really good point guard. And Brea's going to be an all-star, and she's going to be an all-tournament player, and but just teaching her and having the right people around her. And then also Maya, Kaylin, our other top players are sophomores. So that is keeping this core together. In a couple of years, we're going to be very, very good, and adding some pieces around them. But it's going to be the growing pace of getting through the next year or two. That's a fact, and I'm not shy about that. And so it's my job to try to like figure out creative ways, you know, to get some wins. So that's the objective. Okay, cool. Thanks, guys. Bye.